Hello, got Warrior versus Big E, part 2, prison fight story. So we left off with Warrior. He knew Big E was going to come at him, so he called Big E out before Big E had a chance. Big E couldn't back down after getting called out, so now they're going to take it to the Octagon, which is a special area for prisoners in wheelchairs. I never saw any, but they got one built anyway, a room where they can fight it out. So both the doors have been popped open. Warrior went downstairs and sat in a blue plastic lawn chair that the barbers use when cutting hair. JJ the barber plugged the hair clippers into the wall and I pretended to cut my hair. I glanced at the officer in the guard tower. He was fiddling with his paperwork. I was wondering how serious he took his job. Does he pay attention to every detail, or just the kind who does 8 hours and just wants to go home? Picking up on this, JJ said, "Hey, homie, this chota," Mexican-American prison slang for cop, "don't care about shit. You ain't got nothing to sweat, nothing." "Right on," I said. Now I knew I could handle my business and not worry about going to the hole again if we get caught fighting. One less factor my mind didn't have to waste energy on. "Orale, you're done," JJ said. Orale, that's another Mexican term. Then waved at the officer in the control tower. JJ pointed at me, then upstairs to an open shower, then made a motion as though he were washing his hair, so that the officer knew I was going to rinse off. The control officer nodded his approval. "Peep game. Go upstairs like you're going to shower. When you hear me pop cell 25, give it a couple of minutes. I'll whistle and that means he's ready and waiting." I've always thought of myself as a quick learner. In prison or when doing drug deals you have to be. There's no room for error, especially when your safety is on the line. I knew that many fights were arranged like this when guys in prison felt disrespected and needed to handle their business. A routine I was familiar with, one I'll never forget. I rose from the chair and headed to the upstairs shower. Passing cell 25, my peripheral caught sight of Big E staring out of his cell door like an animal waiting to be fed. I went into the shower and closed the door. I took a couple of deep breaths to calm myself as I felt the anxiety and adrenaline kick in. I cracked my neck from side to side and started to shadow box to warm up into battle mode. "Pop 25!" JJ yelled. A few seconds later I heard the cracking of Big E's cell door. My anxiety heightened. I could hear my mind starting to panic about with the what ifs. What if he knocks me out? What if he breaks my nose? What if he tries to stab me? I shook my head as if to shake those thoughts off like drops of water. Get a hold of yourself, I told myself. Assess the situation. Okay, he has you beat on size and weight, so close the distance, fight tight. If you fight close, he can't use his power. Take him off his feet and dominate him. Most of these guys are just street fighters. Your experience gives you the advantage. Okay, I had my game plan. I was as ready as I could ever be. What was only no more than 4 minutes seemed like an hour. Staring at the shower door, I sparred and stretched. I couldn't help but notice all the graffiti scratched into the stripping paint on the shower door. "Westside Phoenix. Chuko loves sad girl. Fuck DOC." DOC's Department of Corrections. "If you're reading this, I distracted you for a few seconds. Ha ha ha." The last one made me laugh. I'll never forget it. Then I heard the whistle. Opening the stall and stepping out, I noticed several other guys out of their cells. Gangster was one of them. Some guys from another pod had heard about the fight and snuck over to watch. A few acted as though they needed haircuts. Others acted like they needed cleaning supplies. I was sure half of them were wondering how badly I would get beaten up, and the rest hoping I'd be the one to humble Big E. Everyone locked in their cells were at the cell windows. Even the ones who couldn't see were stood by their windows, as they didn't want to be the last to know who the winner was. Walking the gauntlet of stairs, I headed down to the handicap shower. JJ and Gangster stopped me before I went in. Hey, Holmes, if a cop comes, we're gonna yell trucha. Trucha, more Mexican slang, Mexican word for watch out. You vatos break it up and come out one at a time so you don't get busted. Vatos is like homies, like men. Yeah, we'll keep the cop distracted. We'll cover you two, Gangster said, and then whispered to me, fuck this fool up, dog! I went into the shower, a large area, tan tile shielding the floor and walls. Its dimensions like a boxing ring. Big E was at the opposite end, waiting, shirt off, shorts on, shoes tight, his whole body covered with ink. We started after each other, but before my hands could get up, he caught me with a series of jabs, left, right, left. I stumbled back, but he didn't knock me down. His reach was longer than I had anticipated. My instincts yelled, catch up or he's going to drop you. My fists were up, I threw 3 back and followed with a cross that knocked him back. I tried to follow with an uppercut, but missed, as the cross I just landed had saved him by moving him out of range. Picking up the pace, the severity of the situation invaded Big E. We exchanged blow for what seemed like minutes, but was really only seconds. Every time I was hit, I saw stars. I knew he did too. It was a war of attrition. We were like 2 rock'em sock'em robots waiting for each other's head to fly off first. Beginning to dominate the battle, I felt my pace gaining, giving me confidence. Suddenly, Big E hit me with a perfect uppercut that busted open my right cheek. Stumbling back against the wall, I felt the blood pour from my face. Big E grabbed me in a headlock, which told me one of 2 things. He's tired of getting hit. Either one was fine by me. I baited him into thinking he had the headlock tight. My instincts were screaming he was going to try to hip toss me. All street fighters do that with their headlocks, then pin you down and punch you out cold. He went for the hip toss and I knew I had him. Tucking my chin down, I twisted my head out as he went for the toss. Big E ended up tossing himself on the floor as his body spun. As he hit the floor, I ran to pounce on him like a mountain lion would a deer. He was quick for a big guy and on his feet almost as fast as he fell. I was faster though and got on his back to get my hooks in. A technique where you wrap your legs over your opponents as you're behind him in order to initiate a rear choke. Balancing me on his back, Big E was strong. I couldn't initiate the choke as he was hunched too far forward. So I grabbed his neck with my left hand and started attacking his temple from behind. He opened himself up enough to complete the choke. I went for it. It was over. Okay, Big E gasped. Alright, that's enough, JJ said. I let Big E go. Gangster had the cheesiest grin on his face. I couldn't help but smirk in return. Big E rose to his feet. I was cautious, not knowing if he would try to rush me unexpectedly. Gangster and JJ stepped between us. Orale! Yestafus, that's enough, Gangster said. Holding his throat, Big E hacked, gave me a dirty look, stormed out back to his cell. I noticed his left eye was bloodshot from a popped vessel. His upper lip was bloody and he was bruised around his eye sockets. So there you have it. Warrior, babyface warrior, chokes out Big E, who taps out. Quite a civilized fight compared to the T-Bone stuff I wrote. And the T-Bone stuff, this was back in the 1980s, some of those early fights when Arizona was on TV as one of the most dangerous prisons in the country because so many people were getting murdered. And some people have said, you know, this can't be possible, guys breaking bones and killing people in prison, blah, blah, blah. Seriously, if you were in prison in Arizona back in the day, everyone had a shank. If someone called you out, dudes were fighting to the death. People were getting raped. People were taking shovels from the work crew and cutting dudes' heads off and sticking heads around the prison to show they were the toughest gang. Yep, some of this stuff might be hard for some people to comprehend because it's so evil and so graphic and barbaric. But believe me, T-Bone's entire body covered in scars from people trying to murder him over and over in the prison system. So any of you punks saying T-Bone didn't do any of this, you need to send me a picture of your body entirely covered in scars, showing all the life and death stuff you've been through. And I should really be focusing on all of the positive comments. 90% plus of the people have got T-Bone's back and are supporting what we're doing here on YouTube. And I thank all of you guys for subscribing and being positive, and a few people have written to T-Bone now. If you want to write to T-Bone, send me an email. My email is at my contact page on my website, ShaunAttwood.com. People asking about donating to T-Bone. There's also a donation page I've got set up for him as well. So if you're interested, send me an email. I'll put my email in the box before this YouTube video. Alright, take care out there. Cheers from Birmingham, where I am right now on the road.